Team Fortress, a widely popular game that has contributed to internet culture massively over the years. We look at the more than decade-long history of community creations with a lot of fondness and nostalgia. However, we often forget that Team Fortress 2 is not a solo title, but rather a sequel, and we don't think about how there was a Team Fortress community before TF2, or even that there was a Team Fortress before TF2. And in this video I want to explore that topic, and gather some responses from community members on their perception of the before TF2 community. Let's get right into it.
1.
The Team Fortress community started as a group within the Quake community, since as most of us probably know, this all started as a Quake World mod, inspired by a Doom map. It was an extremely popular mod. It was run by about 40% of servers. However, this era is so long gone, and it's extremely hard to find many useful archives about it, so we'll move right into Team Fortress Classic. Team Fortress Classic was released on the 7th of April 1999, according to GameSpy, if any of you remember that even. It was among the 10 most played mods for Half-Life. Reading some old forum posts, we noticed that it sort of had the same appeal as TF2 does for new players, being an extremely different and unique experience from other popular shooters at the time. The Team Fortress Classic community really kind of blends in with other Gold Source multiplayer communities. It gives an impression that it's more competitive, that they take the game more seriously. Although I would say that that's because these games are from kind of a different time when it comes to first-person shooters, and since TFC has many different quirks to it not present in modern TF2, for example, conch jumping, it allows for a higher skill ceiling.
2.
Something very nostalgic for a lot of people and myself will be the sort of culture of clans that existed way back then, and was strong up until I'd say about the mid-2010s. Now I understand clans still exist in TF2 as Sixes teams and Highlander teams and such. However, that culture has changed very much. People used to start clans as pretty much groups for people to easily play together and connect to each other. They would have a branch of people that played competitively usually, but it wasn't just about that. I remember picking up random people I just thought were cool back when Counter-Strike Source was still a thing. That culture really helped a lot of games, Team Fortress included. It gave a true feeling of community, and it's not something a lot of people think about anymore, sadly. This kind of ties back into something that feels lost in modern games, however is thankfully somewhat preserved in modern Team Fortress 2 and some other Valve titles. A certain sense of close-knit community. Way back when I started playing Team Fortress 2, the game really thrived on this particular sense of community, where players usually stayed in close-knit servers making friends and talking a lot more than they do now.
3.
The Team Fortress Classic community was also as creative as the TF2 community or any other community from Valve titles, with many community-made maps, models, and such. Parallel to Team Fortress 2, we can see, for example, jump maps existing here. One very infamous one would be Banana Land from a very classic Germa and Star video.
Oh, you're jumping from one puke green texture to the next identical puke green texture.
The most interesting creation by the TFC community, which shows some parallels to the modern TF2 community, is a mod made by fans, Fortress Forever, practically making Team Fortress Classic in the source engine. We can see this idea of the fans taking over is still present today in a sense. Fortress Forever sadly had very bad luck, being released a month before Team Fortress 2, making it obsolete in a sense, as soon as it came into fruition. While TFC purists stuck to TFC and didn't really want to relearn their skills in a different engine, new players and a vast majority of the community moved on to Team Fortress 2. While Fortress Forever was already kind of obscure, having to compete with the amazing marketing Team Fortress 2 had, and was already a niche idea with its inception. While there still is a small community of people who regularly play TFC, Fortress Forever is completely deserted. The only way you can really have an opportunity to play Fortress Forever is for it to be on one of ESCalation's community frag nights.
4. Hello there, ESCalation here. So, Indigo Radio asked me to share my thoughts on Team Fortress Classic. Well, Team Fortress Classic is one of those games that I used to play a lot back in the day. Even after Team Fortress 2 came out, I still went to Team Fortress Classic from time to time. And funny thing, the most fun I had is with a sniper server. It was 2-fort only, 2-fort sniper only, so the bridge in the center was removed and there was acid instead of water. You couldn't cross. Although many tried. The server, if I remember correctly, was called Sailor Sniper Fun, and even a small community formed around there. You would have little conversations via the text chat, and yeah, that was fun. You joined the server and people were like, "Oh, hey, you're back." Fun feeling, even if it was just text chat, not even voice chat back in the day. Apart from the sniper stuff, I used to play a lot of the vanilla maps, not even a lot of custom maps back then. I am a gigantic fan of those push maps, like Dust Bowl, the classic one. You know, just breaking through those choke points was always tremendously fun to me. I know many find that frustrating, and it can be, but when you finally make it through, like you push and push and push, and you break down those sentry guns, and you just rush through the base and plant the flag, and you make it to the next step. It's fun. I enjoyed this tremendously. So, my enjoyment of Team Fortress Classic still stands strong to this day. Though, sadly, you'll find less and less servers, so playing with the community and just setting up your own games, that is amazing to me. Finding people who still play Team Fortress Classic today is fun. And even though I absolutely love Team Fortress Classic, I'm still also a big fan of Team Fortress 2. Not the biggest fan out there. There are people who play that game way more than me and are way better than me. And I was never a particularly good player, but I was always a player who had a lot of fun with it.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe. I'd like to thank ESCalation for coming on. It really means a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.